Hello, everyone. Welcome into Yelling from the Couch. I'm Brent Humphreys, joined by my co-host Gage, and we're going to be talking about NFL Week 4. Gage, what a crazy, stupid week of NFL last week. How we doing, my man?
You are 110% right on that. Teams that should have won, or at least played well, did not. Teams that should not have played well did. And we're already in week 4. This stuff, though, should have happened like in week 10 when we have no idea what's going to happen anymore. It's already happening. It's scary. Football, though, it's moving right along. How long ago was it that we were like, we can't wait for the season to start, and now we're almost a quarter of the way through it. Like, it's incredible how fast it's going. Someone has to be up early this Sunday for his game, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Otherwise, doing well. How you doing, Brent?
Well, things are, they're there. Bengals were on a schedule last week. They played a game.
They showed up to the stadium.
They showed up to the stadium. They got off of the bus physically. Are we even talking about football right now? I mean, because it could possibly be baseball season. The Reds salvaged a series today thanks to Noelvi Marte's heck of a catch. What a catch that was in the ninth inning off Brian Reynolds.
That was insane. I didn't get to watch the back half of the game. I think I watched like the first 3 or 4 innings. And I was like, okay, another low scoring game. What else would you expect from a Reds Pirates game? Except for the one that I went to here a little bit ago, and it was like 11-9 or whatever. And I picked up Emilio Pagan in my fantasy league here a few days ago. Did not expect him to pitch. And when you sent me the video, it was of the Noelvi Marte catch. It was off of Pagan. I was like, oh my gosh, like that would have been so awesome and so tragic at the same time.
Yeah, so I mean, like last night, 2 nights ago, Reds got the wild card, and then they fall to the Pirates 4-2. Like, okay, that's fine. The next day, you got Skeens, you got Hunter Green. It's a pitcher's duel for most of it. And it was. It lived up to the hype.
Yeah.
And then the Reds, Tyler Stevenson in the bottom of the ninth, ties the game up, and I'm like jumping off the couch, like, oh man, here we go. And the 10th inning happens. They give up a run, 3-2, and then 3-3. Then we go to the 11th, 4-3, and then the Reds strand runners on base. They strand 5 runners on base in extras and fall. And I'm like, no. But the Mets lost it last night. So I'm like, okay, still just a game back. And then today, Noelvi Marte makes all 3 outs, but none bigger than the Brian Reynolds robbery. And then I look at the score, and the Mets are winning like 8-5. I think the final's over. They won. There's still a game up. Reds got the Brewers. Brewers are playing for home field advantage. So they're going to be trying, unfortunately. And the Mets got the Marlins.
But to be fair, I don't know if this was today or tomorrow. I feel like it was tomorrow. I think the Mets are doing a bullpen game tomorrow with their pitching.
Miami, do something this weekend.
I'm not saying much. What is today? Today's the 25th. So yeah. Nolan McLean, Shota. Maybe not. Maybe that's Saturday. Tomorrow, I'm just looking right now at MLB.com, probable pitchers. Tomorrow, game 1 against the Marlins, Sandy Alcantara versus Brandon Sproat. So I expect a lot of runs to be scored in that game.
Hopefully it's for the Marlins.
I'm thinking for both teams. Sandy with this 5.48 ERA and Sproat with a 3.94. I'm expecting like an 8-5 final, and I'm not too sure in favor.
This may be the last time we mention baseball on this podcast for this season. After today, it just all depends on how things go this weekend.
Yeah. The one guy that I mentioned, Nolan McLean, he pitched tonight. I have him in fantasy. I did not look at his stats before right now. And talk about a mixed bag. 5 1/3, 5 earned, 5 hits, 2 walks, but 11 strikeouts. So I don't know what to think. Like, okay.
He's either giving up runs or he's mowing them down.
Yeah, but only 7 total base runners, but he gave up 5 runs. Like, man, you were not efficient with runners on base.
No, not at all. But yeah, so there's a little baseball chatter right there. What about the Indians and the Tigers? I mean, that was a crazy stat. The Indians were like 9.5 back in the 1st of September or the 9th of September, and now they're tied for first with the Tigers.
Like, man, okay, sure. That's how that works.
And did you see David Fry get hit right in the face with a Tariq Skubal 99-mile-an-hour fastball?
I did not see the video. I saw the Bleacher Report thing come over, and I did not want to watch it because that just sounded awful. And what did it say? He was out like 6 to 8 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, not good at all.
No, and Scooball, as soon as he hit him, like, he turns around, throws his hat down, like, oh, man, I may have just killed somebody right here. Because, I mean, it was brutal, man. Oh, yeah. It's awful.
But, and it's almost, it's getting a little chilly, getting a little icy out here. It's almost hockey season. The preseason has started. The Penguins have penguined in the preseason, but it's okay. It's preseason. I don't remember when this happened. I think it was before last week, so I can't believe I didn't bring it up. But they signed Marc-Andre Fleury to basically a one-game contract. He's just playing with them in the preseason. He's starting a game, forget when it is, but some Friday, I believe it is. And it's going to be like a retirement ceremony for him, but he's still playing. If he does not do well, it is going to be super sour. But I'm just so happy to have Flower back in Pittsburgh after he left and went to the Golden Knights and wherever else he went.
Yeah, my hockey knowledge is like nothing. So, yeah, I don't even know who that is. There's no hockey even around this area. But like the Columbus Blue Jackets are probably the closest team. I don't know.
I mean, that's kind of how I feel, like a little bit, talk about basketball sometimes, and I'm just here agreeing with you, like, yep.
Man, yeah, Kentucky and Louisville, man, what a game that's going to be. And yeah, I got that. It's the way I am about with hockey, so I'm like, yeah, man, that's cool. Hockey seems like it's fun and everything, but there's no team close, and I never really grew up around it or anything, so I'm just like, yeah, hockey.
I'll put it into perspective with you. Marc-Andre Fleury has played 21 years in the NHL. He spent 13 of that in Pittsburgh, 4 in Vegas, 4 in Minnesota, and 1 in Chicago. His time in Pittsburgh, he has a 375 and 216 record at goalie with a .912 save percentage. So pretty darn good.
I can name you some goalies, and some hockey players, like positions, like other than goalie, I'm like left wing. Let's go. I don't know, but
it's so sad. I watch just Penguins hockey. It's not like football or baseball where I'm watching all the teams, and I've gone to several games. Couldn't tell you much about hockey besides get the puck in that net, past that goaltender.
Let's go. 3 periods to go. 20 minutes apiece. And breaking news just now: Marvin Harrison Jr. with a touchdown.
He's done it.
He's done it. Him and Kyler Murray have not been on the same page at all this game or this season. And touchdown, Marvin Harrison Jr. finally in the corner of the end zone there. Seattle is up 20-13 with 5 minutes and 50 seconds left in the fourth quarter. So, hey, maybe an entertaining finish coming up.
Maybe, but I'm already out of this game. I'm not invested anymore. I told you before we started, I placed a bet on DraftKings, and it hit the first 2 halves. Trey McBride, 10-plus receiving yards each quarter. All I needed. He has 17, and then I believe 11 or 14 in the second, and then 4 in the third. And ever since then, I haven't paid attention to the game.
And it just kills the bet at that point in time.
Yeah.
Which we all know on this podcast, you're a huge Trey McBride guy, so it's only fitting that you put a bet on just Trey McBride tonight. So
yeah, I mean, I did try to run a same-game parlay and combine it with other things, but it wouldn't let me, and I didn't feel like making 2 different bets. So I was like, all right, cool.
It's fair enough. So last week on our picks, let's go ahead and let's scroll that through here real quick. Week 3, you went 9-6, Gage. I went 10-5. Gordon went 7-8. Overall, I'm 32-13. You're 31-14, and Gordon is 28-17.
I remember after week 1, someone that is on this show technically, but has not made an appearance yet. He did pretty well, and then he's fallen off like a lot. So, Gordo, I think you listened to us. You stepped it back a little bit. You let us take the front seat. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, we've kind of got a little cushion on him, too. Like, if we have a bad week, he's still not going to catch us yet. So, hey, we appreciate it, Gordon. Thanks for, what is it called? Beginner's luck, But now, welcome to the big time. Here we go.
But I will say, on the picks, you and I would have tied if I was not an idiot and made my underdog pick of the week, the Saints beating the Seahawks. That did not happen at all. I think it was after the first 2 drives by both teams, I went click and turned on, I think it was Broncos game, where I was just like, all right, I don't want to know what the final score of that one was. Turns out wasn't that good of a game anyways, but I did win 44 cents off of it.
Hey, 44 cents is better than none, so there we go.
Shout out to Spencer Rattler for 215 plus passing yards.
So we've kind of danced around things here a little bit from last week. We haven't really covered anything going on last week yet, but we could talk about our team's performances last week. You're a Steelers fan. I'm a Bengals fan. Gordo's a Packers fan. 33% of this podcast had a decent week, but although the 33% that won was not happy with his team's performance there, was he, Gage?
No. I mean, would you be happy? I mean, now, granted, you had Jake Browning at quarterback. With Joe Burrow at quarterback, let's say, would you be happy if he completed 16 of 23 passes? I think that's a pretty good ratio, right? You know, it seems fairly decent.
Yeah, that's not bad.
But what if I told you his total yardage was only 139?
There's a problem.
Yeah, that is less than 10 a clip. 2 touchdowns, though. He is now 4th all-time in touchdown passes. Passes Brett Favre, funny enough. And then 1 interception. And then your run game, 18 carries, 47 yards, 2.6 a pop. Feels like Chase Brown out here. Kenneth Gainwell, 4 for 16, and gets the touchdown. And then Aaron Rodgers, 4 carries for a singular yard. Your top receivers are both Jalen Warren and Calvin Austin with 34 yards, and then DK right behind him at 32 with a touchdown, and then Jonnu Smith, 23 yards. Defense-wise, I know the first 2 weeks, I was like, this defense is awful. They need to do something. Like, I don't know what's going on. Terrell Austin needs fired. And then they forced 5 turnovers on the Patriots, 4 forced fumbles, 1 interception, Brandon Eccles with that. You also had TJ Watt getting 2 sacks, Nick Herbert with a sack, Derek Harmon in his NFL debut gets a sack, Cameron Hayward gets a sack. Defense lit it up. Offense, it felt like the game back in 2022, I believe it was, against Cincinnati, week 1, where Joe Burrow starts off the game by throwing a pick 6. And the defense has so many turnovers, but Pittsburgh's offense can't do anything, because I think it was Trashkansky at quarterback. And then we go into overtime. Both kickers miss a field goal, and then Boswell finally wins it with like no time left. That was the feel of the game, except I was glad we didn't go to overtime. Still pulled out the win, though. Still 2-1, facing Minnesota this week. You mentioned only a third of the podcast won. 2/3 of the podcast did not win. Well, 1/3 of it was a close game. The other third of it got demolished by what looks like the Purple People Eaters from the old style Minnesota defense. Brent, how you feeling?
Like I said, I've switched back into baseball mode, if that tells you anything about what I thought about the football game on Sunday. Hopeful at the beginning of the game, 7-0. Okay. Jake Browning throws a pick to Isaiah Rodgers, 86 yards back the other way, pick 6. Okay. All right. Not the best of starts. And then a fumble return for Isaiah Rodgers, 66 yards to the house, touchdown. Okay, who is this guy? Where did he come from? So you find out a lot about a guy after 1 week. He was on the Eagles last year. Did anybody know that? Anybody? He was a backup? Anybody? No. Signs with the Vikings in the offseason. And then he forces another fumble. And then it's like, okay, what is going on here? He has the perfect PFF rating, the first ever perfect PFF rating in the history of PFF since they started taking ratings in 2006. Gage, I'll give you the top 5 PFF ratings. All right, here we go since it started. Tell me if you've heard of these guys. Isaiah Rodgers, number 1, of course. Yeah. All right. Tight end Matt Spaeth.
Former Steeler? Yes, I have.
In 2012, week 2, he had a 99.1% rating. All right.
I know he did this week.
Quarterback Lamar Jackson.
I think you've heard of him.
Week 10, 2019, 98.7. Tackle Andrew Whitworth in 2010, former Cincinnati Bengal, 98.4. And linebacker Troy Reader in 2022, week 11, 98.3. Isaiah Rodgers tops all those.
Yeah, what a company to join.
Yeah, the Bengals made him famous for sure. All of that in the first quarter. Or the first half, sorry. And it was like 38-3 or something like that at halftime. Something just completely horrible. And I'm just like, okay, this is not good. The running game can't get going. Chase Brown has like 3 yards rushing the whole game. Jake Browning is hit so many times. They bring in Brett Rippon, I think his name was, the backup quarterback now. Not because Jake Browning got hurt, but to prevent him from getting hurt even further, because this offensive line is absolutely horrible. It's the same theme that they've had since they went to the Super Bowl. The offensive line, man, they can't get it straightened out. They can't find the right people. You can't protect Burrow. You can't run the ball. You can't pass now. You got to take some pressure off Jake Browning, and you can't because you can't get a running game going. The defense wasn't too horrible because they didn't give up all those 48 points.
Yeah.
A lot of that come from the offense and short fields. But, man, just what a complete horrible day of football for the Bengals. Burn the tapes. Don't ever watch them again because that was pitiful.
So I do want to just point this out real quick. Here's how useless PFF ratings are. So you mentioned Matt Spaeth. He was in Chicago at this time. Posted a 99.1 grade week 2, 2012. He had 11 snaps, 1 catch for 4 yards.
99.
I don't know what he did. He must have had 11 snaps, 1 catch, 22 blocks in
pancake blocks.
Yeah, in 10 snaps for that.
Call him IHOP because he's serving up pancakes all day long. It must be. I don't know, but man, like I said, just burn the tapes. That's all you got to do on that.
Yeah, but hey, they have a chance to right the ship this week against our guy Bo Picks, so maybe it'll happen.
So the other third of this podcast here, the Green Bay Packers, they go into Cleveland. They're up 10-0, and it's 10-10 all of a sudden. Green Bay's going to kick the game-winning field goal or the go-ahead field goal with 30-some seconds, and it gets blocked. And Cleveland runs it back, gets into field goal range, and Cleveland at the buzzer with a 55-yard field goal defeats the Green Bay Packers, who looked pretty much unbeatable the first 2 weeks of the season. That Cleveland defense is Super Bowl worthy.
Yeah, if they, were not in Cleveland and actually had a good offense, maybe there's a chance that they would be in the Super Bowl. No, earlier I said thank you to Gordon. I think this is a time where I take that thank you back on behalf of the AFC North for giving Cleveland their first win of the season, probably one of 3 or 4 wins that Cleveland gets, and say what happened. Because why? Why Cleveland? Why Joe Flacco? Why Andre Schmidt? Man, I did not expect that. I don't think any of us did. But an NFL debut, Quinshon Judkins, 18 carries, 94 yards, and a touchdown. I'll take that in my NFL debut anytime.
Yeah, he had a pretty good running game, or a game for his first game of the season. Man, it's just a shocker all the way around. How many blocked field goals were there this week? Jordan Davis blocks one at the end, and 330-some pounds running down the field faster than anybody else. Was a sight to see for sure. They blocked another one. The Jets get a field goal block. It's crazy.
That Jets-Bucks game was a lot closer than it should have been. But Will McDonald, man, I knew nothing about this guy. And maybe that's on me. Maybe I should have known who Will McDonald was. And then comes into week 1, destroys Broderick Jones, comes into week 3, and just has a measly field goal block for a touchdown. So maybe this guy's up to something, but I don't know.
Well, if you remember last week on this podcast, one of Gordon's picks was the Jets and Tyrod Taylor beating Tampa Bay, and he almost called it. I was like, dude, we were just like completely mocking you on this pick, and you almost was being able to like, all right, you guys can shove it because look at me here.
To be fair, his pick was Justin Fields in the New York Jets. Beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, not Tyrod Taylor. So I feel like he could have picked up another win if he had just waited just a little bit to send his picks over.
Yeah, he could have. And like Baker Mayfield, 3 straight games, 3 straight game-winning drives. Like Man, that's crazy. Can he keep it up? We'll talk about it here after a while. But, Gage, I think now it would be time to get us into one of the best segments on the show here, right? And that, man, that would be...
From turf to tier, injury fears, who's sidelined this week in Gage's fantasy sphere?
So
who we got injured this week, Gage, on your fantasy team?
Yeah, so last week we came into this with one questionable and one IR. The questionable was Zach Charbonnet. Obviously not questionable tonight. He played. So cool. He's off the injury list. And then Aaron Jones on IR, obviously not going to be off the injury list yet. But on top of that, we have 1, 2, 3 more people to add to this list. Questionable running back from Jacksonville, Bayshaw Tuten. He was a limited practice participant today. Let's see here. I don't think it says why. Shoulder injury. So I'm kind of scared on that because I did pick him up in place of Aaron Jones, thinking that Travis Etienne eventually will fade off like he always does, and Tuten will get a lot of the carries. But right now, it does not seem to be that way. Then we'll go to the Carolina Panthers wide receiver, Teteroa McMillan, hamstring limited at today's practice today. I expect him to play. If he was limited hamstring, yeah, it's going to suck. They'll work him out, though. Excuse me, he's still young, so he should be able to play. I really hope so because he is currently in the starting lineup for the guy that you and I both took a hit on, who will be out probably 4 to 6 weeks, and that is Cowboys wide receiver C.D. Lamb. Ankle injury, missed both of the practices this week, expected to be sidelined for 3 to 4 weeks. Just put him on IR. I'll have another IR slot. Put him on IR. Let me pick up another guy.
Question I've got with C.D. Lamb is, why are they using him as a running back?
That too. You are not a Deebo Samuel. Your team is already down how many points at this point? Go try something fancy. I don't even care if you take him out of the game at this point. But now he's hurt, and now Dak Prescott is throwing to Jalen Tolbert. And George Pickens, I'll give you that. He may or may not have had a meltdown last week, but...
Surprise.
I know, he hasn't suplexed anyone yet or body slammed anyone yet, so I guess they're on a good turn with that one.
Give him time.
Yeah, just give him a little bit of time. Outside of that, not an injury and not a single player. But I have the Texans defense, and we all saw the news earlier this week that they released C.J. Gardner-Johnson. So is that a hit to the Texans defense? Obviously not if they release him. But this is a team that allowed 17 points last week, got 2 sacks and an interception at Jacksonville. Granted, it was at Jacksonville, so whoop-de-doo. But yeah, so that is who's injured on my fantasy team. And I'm just looking for this list to continue at this point.
Yeah, it keeps adding every week to week. It seems like we get more and more injuries. And of course, I mean, you're always having injuries on your fantasy team, so it's hard telling. So who do you have, who do you have this week in there?
For any position or?
Any position, yeah.
Any position. I closed out of it. Give me 1 second to pull it up.
Gotcha.
Go to my team. Starting quarterback, Lamar Jackson. Running backs are pretty much useless. Nick Chubb and Travion Henderson. Wide receivers, Teteroa McMillan, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Trey McBride going tonight. Jacoby Myers in the flex, the Texans defense, and Chase McLaughlin at kicker. I don't want to say that I have 12 points also currently sitting on the bench with Zach Charbonnet and his, 35 yards on 11 attempts, but a touchdown. And he has a couple catches added onto that as well.
Yeah, so, man, the Texans defense, the vaunted Texans defense that we've talked about, we've heard about from folks all off season long, and we better put some respect on that name. And, man, I don't know about them. I don't know about that whole Texans team right now.
To be fair, the defense, not bad. Going at the Rams, gave up 14 points, had a fumble recovery, 3 sacks. Week 2, Tampa Bay gave up 20, 4 sacks. Week 3 at Jacksonville, like I mentioned, 17 points, 1 interception, 2 sacks. So it's not really the defense's fault. If you're giving up, 2 touchdowns and a field goal or 2, you should have no problems being able to deal with this. But CJ Stroud might just suck. He might just suck. Nick Chubb might just suck. This entire team might just suck.
Yeah, it's really not on the defense. It's more of you can't get a running game going. Your quarterback, maybe it just wasn't a sophomore slump last year. Maybe he just had a good rookie season and he's not really as good as what everybody thought he was going to be, and he's really tailed off the last couple of years. I don't know, but we'll see how it goes. But so far, not good for Houston. The early favorites in the AFC South, we both picked them on this podcast, and I don't know.
I don't know either, but it really feels like they're making us not look like we know what we're talking about, and I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, we're not looking so good on that, but I mean, hey, everybody had Danny Dimes going 3-0 right in the first of the season, right?
Oh, absolutely. And what they got? They got 103 points for. That is the most in the AFC. And okay, so they are tied for the lead in the NFL with points for 103. They're tied with the Lions. So who would have thought that Daniel Dimes and Jonathan Taylor and everyone in company would lead them all to a 3-0 start, 2-0 at home, 1-0 away, and just be on a roll right now and almost look unstoppable. But there's going to come a point. There will come a point where Danny Jones, Daniel Dimes, Daniel Jones, whatever you want to call him, just throws 5 interceptions, 80 yards, and gets knocked out of the game for Anthony Richardson. There's going to come that time.
And Lord help the Colts if they have to go back to Anthony Richardson.
They might go out and trade for Jameis Winston if they have to at that point.
Hey, maybe Russ. Russ is available now after this past week, so maybe.
Yeah, but he also might just say the heck with it and retire. So who knows?
Yeah, never know. Now that'll lead us into our picks this week. Week 3 picks. And let's go ahead, Gage, and let's get started with it. And let's start out with the first game of the week. Like right now, it's 20-19. Oh, did the Cardinals just score?
That's what I'm looking at. I'm a little bit behind you, but I think they did.
The Cardinals just scored here with 28 seconds left. Oh, man. So we got a ball game here on Thursday night.
But my question, was it Trey McBride?
I don't think it was. I think it was Michael Carter. Yeah, Michael Carter. Maybe. 31. Is that Michael Carter?
Sure.
Not sure if that's Michael Carter or not, but because they said
Michael Wilson, maybe.
Nope. DeMarcado.
Ew.
Yeah, so completely off on all that. Kyler Murray threw it to him. And have you seen how big Kyler Murray's helmet is? I mean, look how big that helmet is right there on him.
Have you watched this guy run? He looks like a 5th grader at recess trying to run for a football.
Yes, that's what I'm sitting here thinking. I mean, like, the helmet is like a normal size. I'm just pretty sure it's just where he's so tiny. I don't know, but the Cardinals have made this a ball game, surprisingly. They were out of this thing.
Yeah, I did not expect this game to be going to overtime.
So that'll lead us into our picks. The next game that's coming up on the schedule would be live from Dublin. The Minnesota Vikings and the Pittsburgh Steelers at 9:30 on the NFL Network. Right now, Minnesota is a 2.5-point favorite. Gage, what do we think on this one?
Yeah, I don't really know. Carson Wentz last week completed 70% of his passes, but only 173 yards, did throw 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, but he was aided a lot by that Vikings defense. No offense, but I believe Pittsburgh has a better defense than Cincinnati, and I'm pretty sure anyone would say that. So I don't think it's going to be as easy of a game this week for either side. Steelers offense, outside of week 1, has been atrocious. Not able to get the running game going, barely able to get the passing game going. Rodgers now has thrown interceptions in consecutive games, and we're all here.
We're all here.
Yeah.
We're in the middle. We're just starting our picks, Gordon, and Gage is talking about his Steelers and the Vikings. So, Gage.
Yeah. Like I was saying, not excited at all for this game, especially at 9:30 in the morning. I don't want to be up on Sunday morning at 9:30 in the morning. I barely want to be up during the week at 9:30 in the morning. If the Steelers do not win, I work at 5 o'clock that night. I'm going to be in a terrible mood, and I'm really just hoping that doesn't happen. So am I going to do what I did last week, go against the Steelers and be a win-win? Nah, give me Pittsburgh in this one. It's an international game. I think most of the crowd will be for the Steelers, since I think Ireland was deemed like the Steelers' country or whatever by the NFL a couple years ago. So give me Pittsburgh in an away home game. And obviously give me the points as well since they are the underdogs.
So this is the first game in Ireland. First ever game that they're going to play an NFL game in. The Vikings and the Steelers, they're going to be hyped up on the old Guinness over there or what, been over a few days. Minnesota's got a 2-week trip over there in Europe. Good for them. Carson Wentz last week against the Bengals didn't really have to do a whole lot, of course. He was efficient. No drama for that team at all. So, it was pretty easy. Justin Jefferson didn't have to do a whole lot. TJ Hawkinson, he may have a big week this week. Pittsburgh has not done well against tight ends this season so far. And that defense, they forced a bunch of turnovers last week. Well, Isaiah Rodgers forced a bunch of turnovers last week. 2 scores in that. Pittsburgh's kind of limping in a little bit here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, last week, I don't know.
But limping in, and then also just a lot of injuries on the defensive side as well. And you mentioned tight ends. Hunter Henry has always had good games against Pittsburgh in his career. It feels like every time he plays, he's scoring at least a touchdown. So I, put an asterisk next to that and just say the Hunter Henry game and call it quits.
Who's the tight end for the Jets? Mason Taylor? Did he have a pretty good game against the Steelers?
I'm trying to block that game out, so I don't really know.
Well, so I think that, man, this is kind of a tough one to pick here because Minnesota last week, I think it was kind of an anomaly against the Bengals. They're not going to do that again every week. Man, I think I'm going to have to roll with the underdogs in this one. Not the underdog pick of the week, but I'm going to go Pittsburgh in Dublin with the win. Give me Pittsburgh. Of course they cover because it's 2.5. And Gordon, welcome to the big show. Man, your first appearance on the NFL Pick'ems. Gordon, let us know what you think about this game here.
Okay, you're talking about the Steelers and Vikings game, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I got the Steelers winning. It's going to be the under because overseas games are always sloppy, and most time they're low scoring. I'm going to say it's the under. Steelers win by 4, and TJ Watt gets a sack and a half.
I like that.
There you go.
I like that a lot.
Now, you're right. I mean, these are kind of low scoring, and these two defenses are pretty good anyway. So, I mean, that just on top of it, hammer the under for sure.
And let's hope that the field over there isn't sloppy, that there's no ACL injuries, Achilles injuries, any type of injuries for either team, and that everyone makes it back to the States intact.
Yeah, I said the Pittsburgh's defense is going to wake up this week. Well, sloppy field's going to help, but, TJ Watt's going to take over.
And that'll be a good thing for Pittsburgh. So we're all riding on Pittsburgh. We're all on the same thing. Nobody's on an island here yet, but we'll see. Our next matchup, the Washington Commanders travel to Atlanta to face the Atlanta Falcons. At 1 o'clock on CBS, Washington is a 1.5-point favorite on the road. Gage, last week Atlanta looked absolutely horrible, and Seattle just won the game 23-20 at the end with a field goal. What do we think about this one, Gage?
Yeah, so we had a Kirk Cousins sighting last week, something that I didn't think there would ever be again, especially just for benching your quarterback. Not for an injury, but just saying, you know what, you are sucking today. So you're coming out. Kirko, get in there. Let's see what you can do. The Commanders, Marcus Mariota, hey, have yourself a game. For not playing for a while, he did pretty well. Jaden Daniels, I believe his status is up in the air. They said it's going to be doctor's discretion. So I think that really kind of hurts these picks, but I think either way I would roll with the Commanders. Michael Penix back in the driver's seat for the Falcons. After last week, I kind of have to, downplay him a little bit in this game. Commanders defense, pretty good. Falcons defense, you just let up 30 to the Panthers and Bryce Young. Give me Washington this one, and I think they cover as well.
Yeah, so last week, I don't know what happened to Atlanta. Penix, not good. He's had a few starts here, and everybody went from Cousins to him, and it's not really been much of an upgrade at all. I mean, he had a couple of good games. Bijan's about the only thing they've got in Atlanta right now, and you can't just run him all the time because he's going to wear it down eventually. Washington, they were in a high-scoring game last week, even without Jaden Daniels. Marcus Mariota come in there, played pretty well, but the defense gave up a lot of points to the Raiders. I think Atlanta's actually going to score this week, but I think the Commanders win. I think that the Commanders cover, and the Falcons are going to be like in a tailspin. here in the NFC South, they're not good. And I think it continues this week. Gordon?
I'm riding with you. Commanders. Jaden Daniels still out this week.
I
think he's
believe it's
questionable.
discussion.
Well, considering how Falcons look, I just let him sit another week and get healthy because they ain't going to need him. If Falcons' main problem is they can't get Kyle Pitts started. For some reason, they can't find him. I mean, he's a big dude. He's hard to miss. But somehow they can't find him.
Story of his career.
Yeah, they can't find him. I've got the Commanders winning very comfortably. 3-score victory.
Wow. The way the Panthers did it last week, yeah, I could see it. I mean, that's very possible. Nobody's seen the Panthers doing it, but hey. So
And
our next matchup,
nice little prop on that one. Terry McLaurin, 50 yards and a touchdown.
Scary
Nice.
Terry.
Right.
So our next matchup, boy, you talk about a good one. Gage, I don't know. This may be your underdog pick of the week like last week. I'm not sure. We'll find out here in just a second. But Gage's underdog pick of week 3, the New Orleans Saints travel to Buffalo to face the Buffalo Bills at 1 o'clock on CBS. Buffalo's only a 15.5-point favorite. Gage, do we dare?
I will admittedly take the L on the pick last week. That was, I might have reached a little bit. Might have reached just a little bit. And I'm not going to do it again this week. The Bills are the Bills. The Saints are the Saints. This is the granddaddy of all teams in the NFL going against the newbies. 15.5, I think, is being generous. Give me the Bills, and I'm going to say they cover.
Yeah, there's not much to say on this game, is there really? I mean, Spencer Rattler, Tyler Sucks comes in and plays a little bit last week and, lives up to the name that I've given him. But the Bills, on the other hand, they're rolling. They're just humming along. I mean, Dolphins kind of give them a little bit of a game last Thursday night, but that ain't happening this week. The Saints aren't giving them a game. Give me Buffalo in this one. Give me Buffalo to cover. Like you said, I think 15.5 is generous for this game. Give me the Bills. Gordon, what do you think?
Bills, and they could probably spot them 28, and they probably still cover. I mean, if Spencer Rattler is your best option at quarterback, you really don't have an option. You might as well just let Alvin Kamara take the snaps from behind center and let him just run.
Just run Wildcat all game.
Well, it worked for the Dolphins that 1 year, but
It did. Well, now Gage had some stats last week. Spencer Rattler was a better quarterback than a certain Bears quarterback. I don't know. I think that narrative changed after last week, though.
Yeah, I'm not willing to reread them stats just because, 1, I don't have them pulled up, and 2, I don't think they'd be as good.
No, not after last week. It might have swung in the other way. I don't know. But, yeah, we're all agreeing here that this game is just going to be a laugher.
and I'll be giggling all day.
Well, the next matchup, sorry, Gordon, to bring this team up, but the Cleveland Browns travel to Detroit to face the Detroit Lions. 1 o'clock on Fox. Detroit's a 9.5-point home favorite. Gage, what do we think here?
Yeah, let's be honest. Last week, the only thing that kept the Browns in the game was their defense. The offense with Joe Flacco, I mean, come on. At what point do you make the switch to Dylan Gabriel? I don't know. It's going to be a while that we just got to ride it out with the Joe Flacco train. I'm just not looking forward to when they play Pittsburgh here in a few weeks because we know how Flacco goes, but hey, it is what it is. Yeah, Cleveland, the game-saving, game-winning blocked kick at the end as well. It's a little scary, but the Lions are the Lions, and I'm not willing to go against them at this point, and I'm always willing to go against Cleveland. Give me the Lions, and 9.5, it's a little out there, but I'll take Detroit to cover.
So last week, the Lions defeated the Baltimore Ravens 38-30 in a high-scoring game. Detroit looking like how Detroit has the past few years in that game. But they had Lamar frustrated. They sacked him 7 times, the defense did. And Derrick Henry is over here tripping over himself on the bench because he's so frustrated. Fumbles the ball again last week against Detroit. Detroit's just got it going right now. The Cleveland, on the other hand, a huge win at home last week against the Packers. Once again, Gordon, sorry. But that defense is a Super Bowl caliber defense. It's going to be an interesting matchup to see how they match up with that high-powered offense for Detroit. On offense, Quinshon Judkins had a really good game last week. Will he be able to run the ball against Detroit? Probably. But will he be able to run the ball quite a bit to get the win? I don't think so. Give me the Lions in this one, but give me a Cleveland cover in this game. I think it'll be about a touchdown, but I think Cleveland will keep it close. I don't think Detroit will score 38 in this game. Gordon, what do we think here? Yeah, this is a game against a team that just beat your team and one of your division rivals. What do we think?
Well, like I sent you in that message because I didn't know I was going to be on here. Lions puke, but I think they'll cover because I don't think Quinshawn Junkins has got enough legs to carry him up through there. Lions has been getting pretty good at doing their trick plays like they did last year. And their offensive line is a little healthier. Packers lost 2 offensive linemen last week during the game. They lost Zach Tom, their right tackle, and they lost their right guard, Aaron Banks. One of them was the 3rd play on the game. Like in the first series of the game, they lost. He was down. And he's got an oblique injury, so he'll be out for quite a few weeks. But we still should have been able to score on him. We couldn't do nothing. Anyways, I got the Lions winning by 10 at least. They will cover. And I'm gagging. Sorry.
Well, once again, so our first 4 picks so far, we've all went the same. So we'll see if that continues. This one may be a little interesting, and that would be the Panthers traveling to Foxborough to face the New England Patriots. 1 o'clock on Fox. The Patriots are a 5.5-point favorite at home. What do you think here?
I think last week was an anomaly for the Panthers. I feel like at the beginning of the season, I was kind of high on them a little bit, especially McMillan. But the first couple weeks, they kind of proved me wrong. The Patriots side, I thought outside of the turnovers, even if Stevenson fumbles one time less, because the one fumble he had was on the goal. Like literally one more extra lunge, one more extra second of holding the ball. He's in for a touchdown, instead fumbles it and turns it over. I'll be interested to see who gets the start at running back this week. Will it be Ramondre? Will it be Antonio Gibson? Will it be Travion Henderson? For the fantasy team, I'm hoping for, Henderson to get in there and get some more reps. And it's been the story of Stevenson's career a little bit with the fumbles. Drake May, he did have a fumble last week and he had an interception, but the entire team on offense, like I mentioned, turnover city and sack city at the same time. It's in Foxborough. I'm going to take the Patriots to win this one, but I will take the Panthers to cover. So give me the Patriots win, Panthers to cover the points.
So New England, they had 5 turnovers last week against Pittsburgh. It's just not a good showing at all. Bryce Young, they got in the win column last week for the first time this season, blanking the Atlanta Falcons like nobody seen that coming. Carolina's defense is 5th in the league in interceptions this early. Nobody's talking about that. They're quietly right there. They should be able to force May maybe into making some mistakes. I don't know. We'll see. But the Bryce Young is 1-15 on the road in his career. They're playing in Foxborough. I think it makes it 1-16. I think the Patriots win this game, and I think that the Panthers cover. I'm with you on that, Gage. I think it's about a field goal game right here. It's going to be a competitive game, but I like the Patriots in this one. Gordon, what do you think?
I know I sent you the Patriots whenever I sent you a thing. But after consideration, I'm going to take the Dogs.
Oh, the Road Dogs.
Yeah. I'm going to take the Panthers. I like Chuba Hubbard. I think he runs hard. He doesn't fumble a lot. And Ramondre Stevenson, they're giving him the ball all the time, and that's all he does. It's like trying to give a dog a big pill. It's constantly hacking it up. So of course, it's a cover because they are the Dogs. Panthers going to be Jesse James.
Oh, yeah, the Road Dogs. I was just sitting here looking at the highlights. I'm like, wait, are they still playing? But they're showing the highlights. They just threw a pass to Smith and Jigba on the sideline. I'm like, wait a minute. But, yeah. So Gordon's on an island on this game. We'll see. Maybe Bryce Young gets that elusive second win on the road. We'll see. The next matchup has got a little bit of intrigue here now after this past week, and that would be the LA Chargers traveling to Jersey to face the New York Giants. 1 o'clock on CBS. Chargers are a 6.5-point favorite. The Giants have made a change at quarterback that I believe all three of us agree is due. Gage, what do we think here?
I would just like to point out that in our preseason predictions, I believe I said Jackson Dart will be starting by week 4. So I will take a bonus point, if you may. But I find this funny, though, that they're making the change. Just 2 weeks ago, Russ threw for 450 yards. Last week, does not throw for nearly that many yards. And now they're like, Jackson Dart, everyone's cheering for you. You get to go in, my friend. I like the combination of him and Cam Scatabo out there. However, it's the Chargers. You're giving them a very tough first few games. I believe it's the Chargers. And I think he also has Cleveland and Philly. as his first 3 games. Talk about just throwing your guy to the wolves. I think Jackson Dart's going to be good, but I don't think it's going to be good right away. You got Wan'Dale Robinson out there for your deep threat. You got Malik Neighbors as well, who we all know is a great receiver. I'm going to go with the Chargers, though. I think they're just too good of a team to pass up on, especially against the New Jersey Jets. So give me the Chargers in this one, and I do think they cover as well.
So the Chargers, they're off to a great start. 3-0 for the first time since 2000. Herbert looking like an MVP candidate out here. 860 passing yards, 6 touchdowns. And rookie Omarion Hampton has stepped in pretty good. And now he's going to step up even more with Najee Harris being out for the season. And the Giants, on offense, like you said a couple weeks ago, looked pretty good. Not so much last week. Well, when you don't involve your 2 best receivers much in the game, that's not going to help you win a whole lot. So Brian Daboll benches Russ, brings in Jackson Dart. So we'll see. Cam Scatterbo kind of had a breakout game last week. His first real big game, and he played pretty well. The Giants' defense, on the other hand, they're horrible. They're last in first downs allowed, first in red zone efficiency, and they're playing like cover none out there on defense. So I don't think that it's going to help out a whole lot with Jackson Dart starting this week. Chargers go across to the East Coast, get a win in this one. The Giants will be competitive, I believe, but the Chargers will pull away late, and the Chargers will cover in the end. Gordon, what do we think?
Chargers cover. Yeah, you said their defense is cover none. Well, their offensive line is Swiss cheese. I mean, there ain't nothing else to say about it. I mean, they couldn't block a fart with a wind fan. I mean, Russell, he wasn't good to begin with. I mean, he's better than me at quarterback because I can't throw the ball very far. But that's not saying much. That's like saying if you're 5'1", well, I'm taller than him. Well, he's only 5 foot.
Well, Russ ain't been the same since his year before last in Seattle either. So, I mean, and he keeps getting these jobs somehow.
Name recognition is the only reason why he's getting them jobs. He's a placeholder for a few games for the next quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here we are. Here comes the next guy.
Yeah.
So we're all together again on this one. Gordon, you're not going to make up much ground this week unless them Panthers win so far. Hey, the next matchup, the Philadelphia Eagles travel to Tampa Bay to face the Buccaneers. 1:00 on Fox. Philly's a 3.5-point favorite on the road. Gage, what do you think about this matchup? The only battle of the undefeateds this week.
There are 2 things that really intrigue me about this week's match. Number 1, Mike Evans not being able to play. Another hamstring injury, which he has had every season since 2017, and he still somehow manages 1,000 yards every year. I don't know how this guy does it. But Chris Godwin likely to be back, so that'll be a nice switch for the Bucs. The one thing they did this week, y'all remember Desmond Watson, the guy that they were like, oh, you need to lose weight in order to make the squad? They signed him to the practice squad. Will they elevate him and put him in for tush-push situations? I know they all said, no, that's not happening. We just brought him back to bring him back as a depth piece. I think it's going to happen, and I think it's going to work. I don't like the Eagles' offense. I don't like the Eagles at all. Let's just call it what it is. Don't like the Eagles at all. And compared to last year, we have turned to kind of a pro Tampa Bay show. Give me Tampa Bay. And obviously, give me the points as well since they're the dogs.
Both teams undefeated here. Both teams last week was, roller coaster up and down, like really highs. The Eagles was down 26-7. They come back, they get a blocked field goal, then they get another blocked field goal, and they beat the Rams. The Buccaneers, they get their field goal blocked from the Jets, and then they come down, they get the ball back, Baker comes down, leads them into field goal range, they get the win by 2 over the Jets. You're close, Gordon, on calling that one, but not quite. Mike Evans being out, like you said, this happens every year. Baker has had 3 straight games where he's won game-winning drives. I'm going old school on this one, Gage. I'm going with Philly in this one. They're going to down Tampa Bay at Tampa. Give me Philly. Give me Philly cover. Baker this time does not lead a game-winning drive. Gordon, what do you think?
I got the Eagles. And last week though they found their passing game. Yes, it was late in the game. It was second half, but they found their passing game. They hadn't been able to find it. Hey, did you know that AJ Brown is still on the team? I didn't know until last week.
Well, when it's 26-7, you do find your passing game pretty quick.
Oh, yeah. And they found out it still works. Now Tampa Bay knows it works too. So now they can't crowd the box. Saquon's going to go off.
Hey, Saquon hasn't yet, so this will be a good game for him too. Right,
yeah.
Gage?
No.
I got the Eagles winning and covering.
Hey, there we go. Gage on the island over there by himself.
It's a pretty nice island, if I do say so myself.
I'm going old,
having my tie.
and I'm going old school with the Tampa Bay hate just for this week. I'm not bringing it out for the whole time. Speaking of hate, the next matchup, the Tennessee Titans travel to Houston to face the Houston Texans at 1 o'clock on CBS. Houston is a 7.5-point favorite. Both of these teams are winless. Gage, what do we think here?
Yeah, you mentioned earlier the battle of the 3-0 teams. How about a battle of the totally defeated teams? So the Texans, we mentioned the defense losing by choice. CJ, defense has been great. Offense has not. Titans offense has not been great. Defense has not been great. I'm going to take the Texans to take their first win, but I think Tennessee covers just because both of these teams are so bad. So give me a Texans W, but a Titans cover.
So this matchup right here comes down to which team's got the more talent, and that is Houston, and which team has the better coach, and that once again is Houston. Brian Callahan, former Cincinnati Bengals offensive coordinator, is not very good as a head coach. Like his time management, I think, has been horrible. Like he doesn't know when to call a timeout, what play to get in, how quick to get it in. You got a rookie quarterback, you got to get that stuff in quicker. Houston's not been good this year. The defense has been good. It's not been the defense. That offense, not been good at all. C.J. Stroud is not looking like the quarterback of his rookie year. They can't get a running game going. Throw Nico Collins a little bit more, maybe. Dalton Schultz, I don't know. But I like Houston to win this one. But I'm with you. I think Tennessee covers this, actually. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. Houston's not going to give up a whole lot, but they're also not going to score a whole lot either. Give me the Texans. Gordon, what do you think?
Well, I pick the Texans every week. They're eventually going to win one for me. But no, I think they'll cover. I actually think they're going to win by more than 8. We will see Nico Collins with at least 9 catches this week. Because if we don't, they're going to lose again. Because they can't run the ball.
No.
And their running back is Nick Chubb is my fantasy running back in one of my leagues. You too, huh?
Yeah.
I lost my other running back.
Yep, same.
James Conner from Arizona. I lost him last week.
I lost Aaron Jones here, 2 weeks ago now, so it's been rough.
It's been a rough season for running backs in general. Nobody's really turned it on yet, I don't think. Nobody's got going, really. And Texans really need to get somebody to get at least 50 yards in the game besides C.J. Stroud.
Really, I think the best running back so far has been Jonathan Taylor, but I guess that happens when you're on a 3-0 team and Danny Dimes is out here dropping it in the bucket to everybody.
Boy, let me tell you about segues here, Gage. You're a professional right here. Look at this. Our next game, the Indianapolis Colts travel to L.A. to face the L.A. Rams. 4:05 on Fox. The Rams are a 3.5-point favorite. Gage, can Danny Dimes continue his win streak here and lead Indy to a 4-0 start?
I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't pick Indianapolis. I mean, I just talked them up. I trash talked them before week 1. They went and shut me up, and I picked them in for 2 and 3. Let's do it again. It's an underdog pick, but it's not my underdog pick of the week. That'll come later. Give me the Colts. Give me the points. And sorry about it, Rams fans. You blew it to Philly last week. You're blowing it again this week.
The Colts are the biggest surprise in the league by far. Unbeaten. Daniel Jones on the comeback trail. Comeback player of the year favorite right now. Coming back from what? What was it, Gage? He's coming back from? Sucking, yeah. So, he had 3 touchdowns passing, 3 touchdowns rushing, no turnovers. Jonathan Taylor is leading the league in yards, scrimmage yards. They've only punted 1 time this year, and it took to the second quarter of last week's game, or the third quarter. What was it? 10 straight quarters they went without punt. Finally, they punted. This is like they're playing Madden out here or something. But the Rams, on the other hand, they blew a 26-7 lead last week. Man, I think that it's going to be a good game right here. But I'm going with the home favorite Rams in this one. Give me the Rams to win this one. I think that the Colts cover. This is going to be a close game, but the Colts actually punt more than once in this game, and the Rams, and Puka Nacua has a pretty big game here. Gordon?
I got the Rams covering. I think Dan Dime's going to come back to earth this week. Jared Verse is going to have nightmares. Jared Verse is hard to block.
Yeah.
The only reason why he didn't get as much pressure last week is because Jalen Hurts can run. I know Daniel Jones can run too, but Jalen Hurts hasn't tripped over his own feet running towards the end zone either. So
that was the old Daniel Jones. This is new Indianapolis Daniel Jones.
Well, remember, he's not playing on AstroTurf. He's playing on grass like he did in New York. He's going to trip over his own feet. That goal line, them yard lines are going to trip him up once.
The turf monster is going to get him.
Just joking, man. I had to throw that in there because that was just a funny remembrance. Oh, but Jared Verse is going to have him have nightmares that Sunday night. I got the Rams covering.
Once again, Gage, on your own island over there.
I'm building a campfire and a little shelter out here while I'm at it.
Our next matchup, maybe a decent one here. Jacksonville travels to San Francisco to face the 49ers, 4:05 on Fox. And somebody didn't put the San Francisco was a 3.5-point favorite, but San Francisco is the 3.5-point favorite in this one. Gage, what do we think?
It's funny to me, again, quarterback situation, Brock Purdy, there's a chance he might go, but I'm leaning as it's a Mac Jones versus Trevor Lawrence game. Where was Mac Jones last year? Oh, yeah, he was in Jacksonville. What wide receiver did great with Mac Jones and has not with Trevor Lawrence? Brian Thomas Jr. Brian Thomas is going to be sitting on that sideline going, Mac, I miss you. Please come back. Please, I need you. This guy is kind of getting the Kyle Pitts treat. A great rookie season and then nothing. I'm hoping BTJ does not continue that way in his career, but I feel like with Trevor Lawrence at quarterback, it's going to happen. 49ers and Mac Jones, he's getting carried by his defense. That is for sure. They were able to put the game away against Arizona last week, but no touchdowns were scored, I feel like, until the last 6 minutes of the game or something stupid like that. Then bam, touchdown, bam, touchdown, touchdown. Okay, let's calm down, everybody. Let's just score touchdowns throughout the game, please. I'm not a Trevor Lawrence fan. I know people that are, and I question why. Give me the Niners in this one. Mac Jones gets another win, and I will take them to cover as well.
The Niners are undefeated, looking pretty good so far with McCorkle or Brock Purdy, whoever's starting for you. And turf toe, man, that's a serious injury. You can't just come back from that in 2 weeks from what I've heard. So I think it's going to be Mac Jones again. But San Francisco's starting to run out of bodies out here. Nick Bosa went down last week with a torn ACL, out for the season. Brandon Ayuk still out. George Kittle out again. Jawan Jennings is questionable. Brock Purdy's out. Christian McCaffrey's just one hit away from being out once again, like usual. So, I mean, they can't stay healthy. If this team stayed healthy, man, we talk about it all the time, how much talent they've got. They're like Super Bowl contenders all the time if they stay healthy, but they never can stay healthy. Jacksonville, they either look really good. Actually, they look pretty good against the Bengals too, but they let Jake Browning lead a game-winning drive touchdown. So, I don't know. Trevor Lawrence, like you said, he's not the quarterback he was a few years ago. I think that in ETN, he had a good week one. And then, I don't know, Brian Thomas, like you said, hasn't got anything going. I like San Francisco in this one. I think San Francisco covers in this one. Whether it's Mac Jones, whether it's Brock Purdy, give me San Francisco to win by about a touchdown or so. Gordon, what do you think?
Well, I got 49ers covering. I'm sorry. They're the 44ers. They're missing too many people to be 49.
Yeah.
The 44ers. Anyways, and I'm not, please don't jinx it. Christian McCaffrey is my fantasy running back. I've also got Brian Thomas Jr., but I got him on the bench because Trevor Lawrence needs to find his phone number because he can't find him. Can someone draw him a map saying Brian Thomas is over here?
I feel like, though, if you've got Christian McCaffrey as your fantasy running back, you know the risk going in on that one.
Yeah, I do. Yes. But in the first round, I picked last. Well, everybody else was gone. I mean, it was either him or,
Chase Brown.
No, actually, in my league, he was going in the first round, too. He was going right before me. Right before I picked. So,
you dodged the bullet there.
So, Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, all of them, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, all going before I picked.
So you're going with the Niners as well.
Yeah, I want the 44ers, yes.
All right, Gage, back off that island there. We're all together on this one.
Hey guys, welcome back.
Our next matchup, 425. The Chicago Bears travel to Vegas to face the Vegas Raiders. On CBS, Vegas is a 1.5-point favorite at home. Gage, what do we think here?
The Raiders side, Geno has not been the same quarterback that he's been in the past. We talked about last week, his completion percentage is down. Ashton Genty not able to get anything going. But again, you run into the offensive line troubles. What is it with these teams and not being able to coach an offensive line and have a stable one? It's so many teams. I don't get it. From the Bears side, they not only defeated the Cowgirls last week, but they bullied them. The only thing that I hope that they work on practice is DeAndre Swift learning how to lateral a ball backwards, like effectively, and not 10 feet in the air to Caleb Williams. Granted, it still turned into Luther Burden's first catch and first touchdown in the NFL, which was pretty cool. I believe he was one of my potential breakout players in the preseason before I picked Colston Loveland. Boy, what a dumb pick that's been. But
On my bench.
Yeah, that was something. I'm just not a fan of the Raiders. I'm not a fan of the Bears either. I don't expect this to be that good of a game. We're going to pick the dogs again. Give me the Bears in this one, and obviously with that, they cover.
Yeah, so this game right here, the Raiders put up like 24 last week against the Commanders. Game wasn't really close. Chicago found their groove on offense, and they routed Dallas. Thanks to Fingernails and his best game as a pro. Almost 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, didn't get sacked. He was a punchline the first 2 weeks of the season. We were talking about, hey, he's worried more about painting his nails than he is about going out here and playing football. On the other hand, though, that defense played pretty well, too, for the Bears. The Raiders are on a 2-game losing streak after beating the Patriots in week 1. They can't protect Geno, like you mentioned, and they can't get a running game going. Ashton Genty is getting hit behind the line every time that he carries the ball, it seems like, and it's brutal for him. And it seems kind of like another team that I talk about on here. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of that a little bit. I don't know who we're talking about. But Vegas's line's a disaster. I think that the Bears roll in this game here. I think that they're finally getting things going. Ben Johnson's got it going over there a little bit. So I've got the Bears in this one. I got the Bears to cover as the road dogs. Gordon, I know this is an NFC North team. You're not a Bears fan at all. Do you think they got a shot here to win this, or you got Raiders? Who you got?
Well, I sent it to you. I said gag Bears. I don't like picking these people, but Raiders have showed me absolutely nothing. And when you're talking about bad lines, brother, you're preaching to the choir here. I mean,
I know the feeling.
The O-line on my team has been pretty good, but last week, oh my God, that was 4 a.m. drunk sad. That was sitting there crawling around going, no one likes me. I got the Bears. I got the Bears winning by 2 scores.
Yeah, I think, old Fingernails will do it again. So the next game we've got on here, the 425 matchup, a big one here. The Baltimore Ravens travel to Kansas City to face the Kansas City Chiefs. At 425 on CBS, Baltimore is a 2.5-point favorite on the road. Gage, what do we think about this here?
Yeah, potential game of the week here. The Chiefs do not seem like the high-powered team that we've known them for the past few years under Mahomes, but doesn't have Rashi, doesn't have Worthy. His biggest threat right now is Tyquan Thornton. And how long until that drops off? Thornton had an incredible catch last week that I don't know, one, how Mahomes threw the ball the way that he did to get at the Thornton, and how Thornton adjusted and the defensive back did not get any hand on it. It was incredible. The Ravens, though, they're always incredible on offense, unless you give Derrick Henry the ball in the fourth quarter in a close game. Going for a potential game-winning drive. But Lamar, you mentioned it earlier, took 7 sacks last week. That is I believe it was tied for his career high in sacks, but still able to get the ball out at times, but taking the L against Detroit, and you still put up 30 points. Detroit's offense, we talked about, just a great team. The Chiefs, not as good. So I'm going to have to run with the gag here. Give me the Ravens in this one and give me the points. I believe they come.
We are not a fan of either one of these teams here, but we would rather see Kansas City win this one. How often do we see, though, Mahomes or Lamar begin October at 1-3? The loser of this one's going to have that reality for him. And the pressure is going to be on for whoever loses this game. So the Ravens, Henry has fumbled the ball late in, was it 3 straight games he's had a fumble?
Yep.
Not good. Not the same Derrick Henry as it was before. Not even the same Derrick Henry as we had last year, really. I mean, you're not seeing the Derrick Henry stiff arms or anything as much so far, and it's early, but he's got a case of the fumbles. The defense also is beat up pretty bad for Baltimore. Van Noy's out, Matabuke. That's some big guys, in the linebackers and up front for them. So the running game could be big for the Chiefs if they had a running game. Pacheco hasn't been able to run the ball a whole lot either. And Kareem Hunt, those guys back there, they're not getting it done for them. They're kind of a shell of their former selves on offense. The Chiefs defense is really good. Once again, as we talked about last year on this podcast, week after week after week, the Chiefs defense carries this team. They have been this year too. They lost the first 2, but they carried them last week a little bit against the Giants. They only put up 22 points, but they only give up 9 after the Giants put a whole bunch on the Cowboys the week before. Chiefs kind of shut them down last week. And they got Russell Wilson benched as well. Let me rephrase this. I've got the Ravens. I'm not saying I like the Ravens. I've got the Ravens to win this game, and I got the Ravens to cover, as we'll call this a gag pick for both of us here. Gage, Gordon, what do you think here on this game?
Believe it or not, it makes me nervous. I've got the Ravens too, but I know you talked about Worthy. He's practiced all week, full participation. He might play. There's the speed that they've been missing.
Unless Kelsey takes him out again for talking about him on the podcast.
Now you know what it was? He gave Taylor a side wink.
Taylor was talking him up on the podcast, and Kelsey's like, huh?
No. Yeah, he gave her a side wink. Okay. So he said no.
Knock him out.
But yeah, I got and Worthy. He's on my fantasy team too, and he's been out since he was actually my starting lineup week 1 and got knocked out on the 3rd play and hadn't even touched the ball.
This may be Gage and Gordon's fantasy. Who's injured on their team next week when we come in here? Man, guys got the worst luck.
But I said I think Worthy's going to be back, and that's what makes me nervous about this pick, because you got one person to take the top off, then the safeties has got it back up. Worthy's too fast for either safety that Baltimore has, so they're both going to have to stay back there, because if he does like a long slant, that they won't be able to catch him. So if they do that, they will be able to run the ball. But I still got the Ravens.
Yeah, so we're all rolling with the Ravens here in our next game. Gordon, you maybe have a little interest in this game right here, the Sunday night matchup. Where did that go? The Packers travel to Dallas to face the Dallas Cowboys at 8:20 on NBC. Green Bay's a 6.5-point favorite. Micah Parsons comes home. Gage, what do we think here on this one?
Yeah, both of these teams not looking or performing really the best that they could have last week. Both of them taking losses, but you mentioned it, Micah Parsons coming home. I think it's a Micah Parsons revenge game, and I'm calling it at least a sack and a half for him on Dak Prescott. Me, the Packers in this one, and I'm going to take them to cover as well.
Yeah, so this Micah Parsons returns. He's going to be wearing the green and gold, and that defense has looked pretty good the first 3 weeks of the season. So he's really helped out over there on that side of the ball. The offense may have a few things to work on. This would be the good time for him to work on some things against that Dallas defense. If the Giants could put 37 up against them, the Packers may put 40 up against them. Yeah, so Dak Prescott said this isn't about Prescott versus Parsons. They still are friends and all that, but I got a feeling that Mr. Parsons is going to be in Dakota's face back there a few times with a couple of sacks in this game as well. Give me the Packers. Give me the Packers to cover. Gordon, I got a feeling I know who you're going with on this one, but let us know.
Of course, I'm going with the Packers. I like the sack and a half pick there. That was nice. Right now, Rashawn Gary leads the NFL in sacks with 4.5. But that's all because so much focus is on Micah Parsons. He's getting loose. You can't single him up no more. The Packers have 4 guys with double-digit pressures this year already. They slowed down. They almost put a halt to Detroit's offense in week 1. Yeah. They slowed down Jaden Daniels in week 2. I mean, he only had 18 yards rushing. So last week was just a debacle. I don't even want to talk about that. But I got him covering. I've got more than 2 scores. And Matthew Golden is going to have an actual game stat line. He almost had one Jordan Love overthrew him twice, and one of them would have been a 75-yard walk-in touchdown, but overthrew him because he had 3 steps on that defender in Washington.
Well, everybody's talking about Parsons' return, but hey, what about Kenny Clark against his former team? Come on, show some respect to Kenny Clark, right, Gordon?
No, he's in Dallas. I don't care. He didn't do nothing. He didn't do nothing for us last year.
Fair enough. Understand. But yeah, so Parsons comes home. We all agree the Cowboys are beating the Cowboys, or the Packers are beating the Cowboys. Sorry. So we go to Monday night, and we've got a doubleheader for whatever reason. The New York Jets travel to Miami to face the Miami Dolphins. 7:15, ESPN. Miami haven't won a game yet, nor has the Jets. 2.5-point favorite is Miami. Gage, what do we think here?
Yeah, I just had to look up if Justin Fields has been practicing this week after missing last week and having Tyrod Taylor take over for a little bit. He did practice today, full participant, so he's likely to start as long as he continues to be on a good trend. So Justin Fields versus Tua turned the ball over. I'm not looking forward to this one. I will not be having this game on. 7:15 start time. I believe Monday Night Raw still starts at 7, so that'll be on the TV instead. But I'm going to take the Jets in this one. Surprisingly, I was going to use this as my underdog pick of the week, but the line is not that big. There's only one more game, so we'll call it the underdog pick of the week. Give me Justin Fields or Tyrod Taylor to beat the Dolphins in Miami. And I'm not submitting this pick without realizing who the starting quarterback is. Whoever starts, Tyrod or Justin, they're going to go in and win.
So the Jets last week almost pulled off the big upset at Tampa Bay, against Tampa Bay. Somebody may have picked that on here. Maybe Gordon, I don't know. But Tyrod didn't look too bad. They were down 23-6 going into the fourth quarter, though. Not ideal situation to be in to win a ball game, but hey, they almost done it. And then the Dolphins, they played Buffalo pretty close. After week 1, they've played a little bit better each week. They're improving a little bit more. Maybe he's going to get Tyreek in a little bit more involved. Echan, they got the weapons. I think Miami wins this game on Monday night at home and get their first win of the season. And Miami covers by a field goal. Give me the Dolphins to win this one. Gordon, who you got?
I'm going to send you a mojito. Brent, you're on an island. I got the Jets.
Rubble with the Jets again.
Yeah, well, Brett played for him for a couple years, and Aaron played with him for a couple years. I can roll with him for a couple weeks. That's about all I can do. But they even one of my fantasy receivers is on the Jets, and I want him to have a big game. I have Garrett Wilson,
Ohio State Buckeye, right?
Yeah, but I also got Devon Achane. So
they just cancel each other out. No, wait, no, that'll help you out both ways. If it's offensive showed, yeah.
Yeah, I want it to be final score being 50 to something to 50 something, and all scores being done by Wilson and Achane. That would just make me happy. That's not going to happen, but.
So you all have got the Jets. I've got the Dolphins. I don't think any of us feel any good about this game whatsoever anyways.
Oh, no.
No. It's the pick'ems. Our final matchup of the week, the main event of week 4. Oh boy. The Cincinnati Bengals travel to Denver to face the Denver Broncos. 8:15 on ABC. Denver is a 7.5-point favorite against Cincinnati. Gage, what do we think here?
Yeah, we know how bad the Bengals defense is, and I think it's going to continue. The run game as well, and the offensive line for Cincinnati, not good. There's a lot of improvement that needs to be done, but it's hard when majority of your cap space is spent on 3 players. That's the issue with locking down a couple of your good guys. And then one of them gets hurt and isn't even playing now for likely the rest of the season. Chase Brown, interesting stat. Negative 54 yards before contact with 43 carries. He had 10 attempts last week for 3 yards. That is sad. That is very, very sad. That's 9 feet. That's 1.5 of me. So that is not far at all. Brent, sorry, I don't want to beat a dead horse. So just give me Denver in this one. And I'm going to say that they cover.
If only it was on the other foot, we were talking about Denver being the dead horse, that would be, perfect. But anyways, Gordon, what do we think about this game? I'll let you go ahead, Gordon, here, and I'll finish it off, I guess.
I think me and you have had this talk before when we used to work together. There's one team that I hate more than any other team, and they're not even in my conference, and that's Denver. I absolutely hate that team, mainly because of one person, but I hate that team. Hate them with a passion, but I have to take them. And it almost makes me want to cry, puke, and stain my socks brown. I don't want to pick them, but I have to. Logic, I'm going to pull Spock. It's only logical. Oh, my God. What I saw last week, or what I didn't see, what you was telling me, fumble, fumble again. No, I've got Denver, and it almost makes my legs hurt saying it.
Oh, so Denver last week played a pretty tight game with the Chargers. All the way down to the end, Chargers beat them. Denver, Bo Nix hasn't looked real good so far, right? First couple of weeks, the Bengals were getting some turnovers. Now, of course, they were the ones turning the ball over last week against the Vikings. Denver on defense, still a really good defense. I mean, the Chargers got a good offense, so they put up some points on them. Cincinnati's offense, on the other hand, you've got Chase still. You've got T. You've got everybody except for Joe Burrow. You still don't have an offensive line. You can't get Chase Brown going. So there's really not much hope going into this Monday night game against the Denver Broncos. They got beat down. Their worst loss in Cincinnati Bengals history last week, 38 points. I may be a homer here, but I'm taking the underdog pick of the week. I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals on the road on Monday night. Jake Browning redemption tour begins right now. Bengals win. Bengals, of course, cover because of the win. Give me the Bengals to shock the world on Monday night and get a much-needed win. Chase Brown has 100 rushing receiving yards combined, and he has a big game this week. Give me the Bengals.
You had to throw that in combined there because you know there's no way he's getting it just on the ground.
It's a bunch of checkdowns probably is what's going to happen just to get the ball out quick. Yeah, but that's how it's going to happen. But, hey, he's going to get it.
He'll have 25 catches for 100 total yards.
If you had 25 catches and 100 yards, if you had him on your fantasy team, that would do you a lot of good.
Yeah.
It would. But I bet whoever's got him on the fantasy team this week's probably got him on the bench. But, hey, you know.
There's going to be a 50-piece on the bench.
Well, guys, that is our week 4 picks. Gordon making his debut actually on the show and not just sending in his picks. Guys, y'all got anything else to add on this week 4 pick'ems?
I'm not looking forward to waking up Sunday morning.
I'm always up at 4 o'clock anyway, so I'm all right with that.
If I was up at 4 o'clock every day in the morning, I would not be a very happy person.
I have to leave the house at 5, so.
Luckily, I do not.
Yeah, so, hey, but think of it this way. You got football from 9:30 until midnight.
Yeah, and at what point do I fall asleep during it? Because that's a long day.
Let's see. During the Bills-Saints game, you could probably take a good nap there.
Take a couple-hour nap during that game because you know it's going to be one-sided.
Or, well, Packers-Cowboys later on. I know Gordon will watch the whole thing, but Gage, you could probably go to bed early on that because you already know what's happening.
Yeah, Micah Parsons, a career day, and that's about it.
Well, that's about it for that, and that's about it for the podcast this week. We'll catch you guys next week on here, and hoo day.
Later.